Cause it's time to move on now. It's time for murder blues.
Perfect. Nailed it.
I love her.
Nailed it. What the fuck are you doing exactly?
Jazz hands. No, those are spirit fingers. Those are spirit.
Are we
fingers.
like touching?
Jazz
These are
hands.
jazz
What are we
hands.
doing?
These are jazz,
Jazz
hands.
hands.
Those are spirit fingers. Jazz hands. Spirit
Jazz
fingers.
hands? Spirit figures. What was that from again?
I don't know.
Oh, it's from Bring It On.
I don't.
Is it?
All I know is
So.
jazz hands is from Archer. Jazz hands and Krieger or not Krieger.
Yeah, Krieger. Yeah.
Is it Krieger? Does it jazz hands? Or it was
Oh
either
yeah, it is.
the or either that or the gay guy who can never remember his name. But welcome all. This is a shit show. Ken and I have both had the
How
plague.
dare you?
And we are Murder Moose, and we're part of the Slash and Cast podcast network.
It's in the game.
Okay, you didn't say the whole thing. What's the rest of it, Ken? And
It's in my ass.
There you go. There you go.
There we go. Sorry, I forgot. Blame it on being sick.
Fucking
As
wrong.
Rod dies in front
dude,
of God and everybody.
I mean, if I didn't die while recording some kind of content, is it even a death? Is it even
Is it
a death?
content?
Is it even content? And
Listen,
we've brought.
I need to do this on screen. Okay, I need the numbers. Things are slacking.
I never got Twitch partner. If I die on stream, I will get Twitch partner, motherfuckers. I will get Twitch partner.
I've decided I'd like to start some fake drama so that I can get some good publicity. Hey, Rod, you know what the fuck you did?
I know. I know.
You existed, and I'm so glad you do.
Aw, and you exist, and I'm so
Aw.
glad you do. Ken is one of my favorite people in the world. And this
It's me.
this young-looking man that is below me and Ken. are
Holy shit. If you're
above
not
me
watching
and-
the YouTube video, you need to go see this gentleman because holy fuck.
Brian is a good-looking man who slings the dick with the best of them, and is one of my
Jesus
oldest.
Christ. This is the greatest intro I've ever
I mean-
had. Ever.
What else do you
We're
expect?
gonna audio sample that, and that's actually how I'm gonna play that every time I walk into any room. Ever.
It's like you're glass shattering for Stone Cold, but it's like the greatest dick
just the sound
slinger
of
of
a
all
dick
time.
just going
It's
It's
the
the sound
dicks-
of a fucking just meaty cock just going.
if it's not,
Yes.
if it's not meaty and not veiny, I don't want any part of it.
Well, you would know with
I
your
would know.
big
I mean-
giant penis. Hey,
I
look,
mean-
my cat's up here.
It's meaty and Ken's got a very feisty pussy. I mean,
I do. I have a very feisty pussy and I have a very fat, lazy pussy. So take your choosing.
Jesus Christ.
Rod, are
I'm-
you gonna make it? Do
I-
you need me to take over hosting duties? I mean,
you
am
can take over when I
more than
die.
Prepared to do that soon.
Because I am, dude. I didn't go to work today. And that would have been working from my own house today. But I'm here and I'm alive. I don't know how alive I am. The space otter powers me. It powers me.
It
don't know.
pops so nice. I was gonna say something about it earlier because, like, every time you bring your arm up, I'm like, space otter,
Space otter.
space otter.
I love it. It's so awesome.
I
Love
I
it.
still need to figure out what to do with the rest of my tattoo, and I can't get a tattoo for the first time in months now because I had to register my car on Friday, and that cost $750.
I know it's gross.
And you can like take the lube out of my asshole because holy shit, I was just like, oh,
It's
no.
okay. The IRS took their quarterly taxes from me today, so
Ouch.
You gotta love it. Ken, did you tell him you're working for a Canadian company? That's what.
oh, for fuck's sake, God.
Ken
Don't. Oh my God. If you ever drive to the border in Canada and you're like, like they ask you about what you do and you tell them that you're still going to work, which is a newer thing, like because before you couldn't work while you were in Canada. Don't ever tell them that there's a possibility that you might work with an indie game developer from Canada, because apparently that means that you're stealing jobs.
Interesting.
They almost did not let me in because of it.
And they
You have been starting some shit up
I
there.
am.
Yeah.
Because you brought your animals and
Yep,
they told
they
you
didn't- that made
you're
them
not
nervous.
leaving if you're
That
bringing
made them
animals.
nervous. Yep. And then
Yeah.
there was a whole thing like, and then they had to specify that I also wasn't allowed to take any educational courses while I was here. And I was like, I'm too poor for that. Like, who's going to school these days? So
in this economy.
higher education as an adult in this economy? I need to do that actually. But
It actually makes me laugh because I know these guys who are like going to start taking classes in like forest rangery things just because they have the GI Bill, and they're like,
I don't blame them.
And I was just like, I don't blame them either, and but like, I'm glad you're like he has a degree in everything already, so it's just like, I'm like, you silly boy. And then Weasel,
Dude, if I had access to a scholarship, like even if it was just like a 75% cover scholarship, I'd go back to school.
Oh,
Hell
I
yeah.
would.
I'd get another degree.
You would have to
I'm
pay
actually-
me what I'm making to go back to school.
I'm actually pretty blessed because the company that I work for, they'll actually pay for my college. So
Ooh,
I
nice.
should really do that because I've been toying with the idea of going into broadcasting.
Oh, you should. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, and they will pay for it.
But
now, here's the problem: I'm lazy.
You're
Know
lazy.
this.
Also,
I'm lazy as fuck.
by the time you graduated, you would be like,
I would be 96 years old. Like,
Exactly.
Hey, that's the opposite of 69, so we're good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
see, but the problem with 96 is that the balls are way more saggy at that point, and so they like you're just like.
You can just
Oh,
wear
yeah,
them
you
as
have
eye
to-
patches. Like, just let them on your
So
eye.
I don't even know if this is how.
What if
ADHD
you used them instead of like, cucumbers that people put on their eyes to like
People have already
you
done
just
that,
use
Ken.
somebody's balls, their saggy balls, to treat their under eye circles. You know what? I've got really bad under eye circles. Anybody?
So if somebody needs
Balls.
So are you inviting some balls?
Just and when you get weird smells that are permanently in your nostrils, don't blame whoever
Ew.
did it to you. I mean,
That's disgusting.
that's disgusting. I don't even know if I finished formally introducing Brian. Besides,
No.
No.
talking about
We
him,
went on
how
a
he's
really fun adventure, though. It was
This
fantastic.
has been a good ride.
there
Yeah.
was. I mean,
Do I have to pay for fuel?
no, this is all fueled
Okay.
on ADHD. This is fueled on ADHD.
Murder Moose, powered by ADHD.
Even without Josh here, it is fueled by ADHD. I still think it's the funniest thing ever when we had Zeke on here, and Zeke's like, "Okay, let's talk about the movie," and we're like, "But ADHD, Zeke, ADHD."
We watched a movie.
We watched the movie, which
Yeah,
is oh, isn't that a podcast also, Brian?
yeah, it is. Are they still part of the Slashing Cast network?
We watched a movie.
Yeah.
No, I don't even know. I think I was trying to. I was trying to think of your new podcast name, Brian, and I was.
We're gonna make you watch.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm bad with names.
Ooh, I like the idea of this.
Yeah, we what we do is me
Feels
and
like
my
a-
buddy Isaiah, we force my best friend Warren to watch horror movies that he's never seen because he's never seen any of them really, and we record it. We have video of the reactions of him watching these things, and then we talk about it afterwards, whether he liked it or not, and we have a good time doing it. It's a lot of fun.
What is his current like ratio on movies you've made him watch?
Most of them he's actually really enjoyed.
What
I think
hasn't
the
he
only one
like?
that he did, the only one he didn't like, he just absolutely did not like it was The Shining, and I think that's actually hilarious.
I am offended.
Well,
Well, okay, but to be fair, did he not like it because he had read the book previously?
no, he's never read any of that shit either.
Well, then his
But,
opinion's invalid. Other than the fact that it's Kubrick, and Kubrick is kind of hit and miss.
It's
but-
a long movie. If you don't like long,
It's a
movies,
long movie, but I think that I've said this before on my previous podcast that I think that movie's a little overrated. And while I still enjoy it and I I respect it for what for what it did to the genre and everything. I just it can be a bit fucking boring, and I think that was the big problem that he had was that it's a very very it's
I
the
agree
very
with you.
definition of like a slow burn
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
because
And like,
it does finally get going, and once it does finally get going, it really is like balls to the fucking wall at the
oh
end.
yeah,
But it is a bit of a chore to get to that point.
yeah, I
And
agree.
he's since he's never watched horror movies, and he's a bit younger. I mean, everybody's a bit younger than me. I mean, fuck, Jesus is younger than me. But
96.
but yeah, he it's it might be a generational thing too,
Yeah.
where they've
could
been
be.
kind of you know, horror movies have gotten pretty intense.
Fast.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah, and so it's definitely
Well-
there's definitely a generational thing there too, though. So I don't know. I don't. I completely understand why he didn't really like that movie, but that's pretty much
Well-
the only one that he just did not like.
I mean, Kubrick's not everybody's cup of tea immediately. So like
not
you could start a Kubrick movie and be like, nope, don't like this at all.
Yeah.
Not interested. And it's
But
just,
if you don't like A Clockwork Orange, you can go fuck yourself.
that's right.
You know,
because that
it's-
movie's fucking
Get your
brilliant.
shit and get out.
You know, you talk about like what horror is now, and it still makes me laugh because all the fucking dick wagging that people had for Terrifier 2, and I'm like, this motherfucker could have made this movie an hour and 45 minutes long, and for some reason decided making it 2 hours and 15 minutes long was a superior idea, and everyone's like, oh my god, this is the greatest movie ever made. Blah, blah. And I like Terrifier 2. It's just like the acting that the idea that movie is like the perfect horror movie makes me want to fucking vomit.
Oh, that couldn't be further from the truth. And I went and saw that in the theaters. And while I certainly enjoyed it and I had a lot of fun with it, he could have cut 30 minutes out of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is
Like, he really
2
could've.
hours, and I'm eating a cough drop and like trying to learn English at the same time. 2 hours and 15 minutes long. Insanity. It is the
Yeah.
biggest, like, I don't know how to fucking edit myself at all. And it's just like, and I
Here's
said,
the question.
yes.
Skidamarink. What did you
Okay.
think, Brian?
What did I think of Skinamarink?
Mhm.
I'm probably in the minority, but I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh,
It's-
No,
okay.
I think you're in the
Definitely.
majority.
It was nice having you, Brian. We'll be speaking later.
Yeah, that's fine. Do I understand why most everybody really doesn't like it? Oh yeah, absolutely, because it's not everybody's cup of tea at all. But would I watch it again? There's absolutely no fucking reason ever to. That's the problem with that movie is there's just zero rewatchability with it. But I appreciated the tension that I felt when I was watching it, waiting for something to happen. I really loved that feeling because that's what I love about horror.
Yeah.
But do I think the payoff was worth it? Honestly, probably not.
So-
But I don't think it's garbage like most people seem to think it is. I actually
I
think
don't
that there's merit in it.
garbage. I think that it's definitely for a particular audience. I'm not that audience, and
No,
I have a
right.
friend who does a podcast, and he also was like, I sat there and I waited for 30 minutes. And nothing happened. And then, something tiny happened. So I stuck around. And he was like, and I waited another 30 minutes. It was about to turn it up. Oh, something tiny happened. Stuck around. And he goes, it was such a waste of time. And I was like, I gave up
Well-
after 30 minutes. I watched the first 30 minutes twice and was like, fuck this noise. I'm out.
That movie reminds me of a much better movie called Jacob's Ladder.
Oh,
I'm sure
dude.
we've seen
Yeah.
Jacob's Ladder.
I've never
not
seen
the
it,
remake.
but I've had that
Um,
movie spoiled for me so many times on videos on YouTube that, like, I don't know. I still
Yeah.
probably should watch it at some point, but I know the
Well,
whole
that's-
twist.
That's kind of what Skinamarink in a way kind of is, because what we're watching is I believe anyway, I could be wrong. This is just my interpretation of the movie is I believe that those are images and experiences of a kid that is going through a very traumatic experience, because a lot of the dialogue you got to kind of really listen to. It's like one of the kids falls down the stairs and they're really fucked up and they're really hurt. And
Yeah.
I think that this is basically their fever dream of the the traumatic experience that they've experienced that they've gone through is causing all this shit.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but that's just kind of my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought of Jacob's Ladder when
Yeah.
I was watching that movie. But
It's.
I could be so far from the fucking truth.
I mean, but how you viewed it is that matters, right? Like it's.
I think so.
I think the same reason I didn't like Mad God. I lost Mad God, even though the same kind of thing because of no dialogue the whole movie, but like just following this in, like crazy visuals aren't enough to keep me going in a movie and to keep me like enthralled with a movie. Josh loved that movie, even though it was because of the fucking visuals and stuff like that. But Mad God doesn't have any dialogue. It's the clay animation movie that took the guy like 30 years to make.
Yeah.
You know, but I like it. The lack of like storytelling and just visuals were just like it's like watching an extended Windows screensaver kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, this is not for me, and I understand why people like it, but you know, it's not. Whatever though. You know what's funny though, because that, you know, it makes me when you were talking about Skinamarink, I think it kind of figures why you picked the movie you picked because I kind of feel like this movie has that waiting for things to happen for like that like tension for the second half of the movie especially. But I'll get when we get into it more. I have more opinions, but okay. Before we dive into that though, I have to say, Ken, I know I'm not going to ask you what you've been watching because I know what you've been watching. How's Fallout?
Oh yeah.
It was so good. I can't wait to watch it again. It was so good.
I started
so
it.
fucking good.
I got
the set design in that show. Phenomenal. The story is great. There is a lot of people. There are a lot of people upset about a particular game's direction that was like kind of skimmed over, but also kind of altered in the show without spoiling anything. However, there is a big nod to it coming. So I am really curious about how they're going to do it, but oh, so good. So good.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
So good.
I've only hit 2 episodes, and I've really enjoyed those 2 episodes. It's like
it gets so much better. Yeah. Oh, I finished it and like was crying. I was so happy.
I've only got a couple left.
Dude. I don't even know the ghoul who will always be Shane from
Walton Goggins.
He'll always be Shane from The Wire to me because
when they casted him, I was like, he does not make any sense for Fallout. I do not like him. He gives me the creeps. Like I don't like him. He kills it.
Yeah, he's so good. He's
great.
so good.
Yeah,
dude needs to shave his head permanently because hot damn.
He does a good job of playing a creep because he's also a creep on Invincible because he plays the like the boss character, the CIA kind of.
He played in Justified too. Did you ever watch Justified?
No,
Timothy Oliphant.
I never finished The Wire or not The Wire. The Shield, and he was the asshole that like turned on he was like one of the cops on this team and turns on his own team and like throws a grenade.
That's
in
the one with the guy that played Ben Grimm in it.
Yep,
right? I've never seen The Shield. Okay.
It's real
Michael
good.
Chiklis?
Yeah,
Michael Chiklis. Is that his name? Okay.
Michael Chiklis, and he's in it.
I think I've seen a couple of episodes, and that's it.
It was one of those shows that I started watching during college. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. And then like I got like they leave you on one of the seasons with like, oh, we're gonna kill one of the favorite characters, and it's just like, oh, I'm not gonna watch the show anymore. Nope. So Ken, was there okay? Do you have anything about that show? Then you sound like did you have any complaints about it?
That I wasn't involved. I mean, there's like little things here and there, but nothing that really stands out. And then like anything that I was really hoping for that I was like, oh, they didn't bring it up. The end brings it. The Gulper is really kind of weird. I think the CGI on that was a little odd, but I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
What is the black kid from the Brotherhood? I know him from something, and I'm trying to figure out where I know him.
You talking about Maximus?
Yeah, Maximus. What has he been?
Have you seen him in?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
He looks similar to the dude that played in at the end of or in Ant-Man and Wasp. And
yeah, he looks like.
Why does Maximus of the Brotherhood of Steel look so familiar?
Yeah. I'm like, what have I seen this kid in?
He's got a similar look to Jonathan
Dude.
Majors.
that they do a really good job of making you not like that kid like right away. I mean, he's a Brotherhood of Steel guy, right? So you're not really supposed to like him, but
Right.
I'm just like, yeah. Like I said, I'm only 2 episodes in. There's 8 episodes total, right? So like,
Correct.
yeah, I'm really digging it too. So I am also really digging it. Anything else you got? Have you been watching anything, Brian, yourself besides Fallout?
Yeah, just Fallout. I think I'm going through Cheers for the 48th time, roughly.
Damn,
And then Frasier probably for the 50th time.
dude.
Yeah, I was watching Seinfeld the other day and I was like, hell yeah. But I've been watching Food Wars.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not an anime person and I actually like it, but
Dude, I was watching this YouTube channel called Legal Eagle where he does really interesting things about like legal things happening, but I watched it right before we started recording. It was him and this Japanese director or Japanese lawyer talking about the Phoenix Wright anime series, and they were like judging it on how realistic it was from lawyers. That's what it just reminded me of, and it made me laugh. So,
What have you been watching, Rod?
just X-Men '97. That shit made my butt cry, and
Oh man, I need to.
that last episode. Oh,
I've heard it's so good. I need
that.
to watch it.
Yeah, you should be watching X-Men '97. It is.
Yeah.
They took the old animation where like if you go watch that now, it's so slow because the action isn't really much action because of the animation, right? But now it's like they have Cyclops like lasering around everywhere. Jesus Christ, man, I'm a mess.
What, you are a mess.
I am.
I love you, man.
But the show's been really good. So I was watching that, and I don't think much else. I slept most of the weekend because of this cold kicking my ass. So, and I watched this movie. So let's talk about that. And yes, we watched The Last Voyage of the Demeter, from 2023, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I have to say, my biggest issue with this movie is that I don't think this movie ever had a very fair chance to like really be successful. One,
the budget and stuff is really interesting. We'll get there.
I don't know how many people even knew it was from a part of Dracula, the novel. And then if you knew it, it's a very much like, oh, I know what's going to happen. I know the ending. You know that Dracula gets out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that thing where it's like, it's the thing where you go, it's kind of like going in. I mean, you could have things like Rogue One, right? Be successful when you know that like whatever comes out of something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even think they advertised this movie very well. Like, and I don't know if that was a, like, they didn't know how to, like, I don't know, man. It's weird how it kind of feels like they let this movie like go out to die. And
I think I tend to agree. My issues with the movie, while I actually as a whole, I for the most part actually really like this movie.
Yeah.
But I think that they should have completely kept the fact that it was Dracula a secret.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have advertised that in the trailer at all.
Yeah.
I understand why they probably did, because they wanted to round people up to get into this movie. And then the other issue that I have with this movie is I think they humanized Dracula too much, because in my opinion, they had an opportunity to make this movie be the vampire version of Alien.
Yeah.
And because Alien, well, you kind of like Alien a little bit. Yeah. That movie is, well, we all know Alien's a fucking masterpiece. It's pretty obvious. This literally could have been Alien on a boat with a vampire, and they could have made Dracula super fucking nihilistic and animalistic and taken all the any kind of humanity, air quote, humanity out of him, and just made him a straight fucking monster. And I think that it would have been a better movie. That being said, I still do enjoy this movie. There's a lot of things I really love about this movie.
I do like it a lot. Why I said that out loud was because it was one of those things going into like seeing it for the first time. Like I wish I saw for the first time like last year, I believe. It was just that it's that thing where when you know the outcome of a film,
Mm-hmm.
it it. So I was watching Chris what's his name, the guy who does
Chris Stuckman.
Stuckman, his review of Abigail the other day, and he
Mm-hmm.
goes, because he's like talking about like the first half of the movie, they don't know that Abigail's a vampire. And so like when you know things ahead of the other characters, it makes the audience feel, it like puts the audience in a weird position.
Right.
And this movie kind of has that thing where like, you know, it's Dracula the entire time, you know what's going to happen, you know that, like, and then they do the whole like they show the ship, like I think that's another I don't think they should have done the whole like ship crashing at the beginning of the film. I think that it makes it even worse. You're like you're the fact that you don't like the fact that they show that the ship never crashes or it never sinks and it just crashes on shore. I think that's a problem, and I don't know why they did that either. Because I guess it's because they found the captain's log and they used it for whatever. But like, I don't know. Those are the couple things I'm like. It just from a decision making, I'm like, I don't know, because you're right. This is a very much a it's that confined space, just like Alien, where you're stuck in the space
Yeah.
with this monster,
Yeah.
and it could be fucking horrifying. And they do. That's one of the things about this movie that they do. They make it like it's a pretty freaky setup when you have, you know, they're just like, oh, these people can't do anything. And although I still find it funny because the whole, you know, the ending, you can't. So couldn't Anna have said something during this movie and go, why don't we go? They only tried to go after him at night. I'm like, why didn't you try to fucking go take out his coffin in the middle of the day?
Yeah.
I've never understood why that's a trope that's never like explored. Like why
Right.
just well he's sleeping, so let's
Hey,
give
they
him
do it in
his
the Lost
time.
Boys. Damn it.
Yeah.
The Frog
That's
Brothers
true.
go in the middle of the fucking day,
Yep.
and they kill fucking Bill S. Preston Esquire.
Yep. They do. But the thing with that is like they even saw people start melting in the sunlight, and they
Yeah.
still don't go, well, maybe if we tried to you know, like mess with them during the day, we could, you know, kill him, like, you know. And it's just like, but that's the whole problem, is that when you have a predetermined outcome of a story, when you take it from where this comes from, it takes away a lot of like your decisions to make a creepy film, right? And like you do stuff like that, and it's just like, man. And I like the cast of this film. The motherfucker from Game of Thrones is great. The Black Doctor character is great. And then
Corey Hawkins, he's fantastic. Yeah. David Dasmakian is so good in this movie.
Yeah, dude, he's in that.
I love him. I think he's such a good actor.
He's the one who was in the Late Night with the Devil, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I need to
haven't
watch
seen
that.
yet. Oh, I
I
can't
want to
wait
see
to
it
watch that.
so bad. We don't have a movie theater here. The closest one
no.
is 2.5 hours away.
2.5 hours. Oh, that's even further than the Walmart. Oh my gosh.
And
you need fmovies.taxi or whatever. Those pirate sites. We're not promoting pirate sites here.
There's a magical plex that has lots of magical movies on it, but it still has, which by the way already has King Kong and versus Godzilla on it, and I'm like, interesting. And
do we have Late Night with the Devil on there? Because
I assume so, because it's a Shudder film.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it is. I think it is a Shudder film.
Yeah, it was going to be released this month or something. That's right.
Yeah. I think that you know what's funny? You said that they humanized Dracula in this movie. I think that they did the opposite. I think that they took the humanity away from him, which is one of the things I dug, because right.
That's why I kind of used the air quotes when I was describing that. He shouldn't have even spoken in that movie to me, in my opinion. Like, because he talks and shit.
It's mimicky,
and they show his face a lot.
Yeah.
I just and to me, even that little bit was just too much for me. I genuinely think they should have treated him in the same regard that they handled like the alien in the first Alien movie.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have seen him hardly at all until the very end.
it seemed like
'Cause that big reveal could have been fucking amazing.
yeah. I think that they did it like where it was like very much like Species or something like that, or like Mimic, or something trying to mimic a human being,
Hmm.
which I dug. The problem is like, see, because like when you say human, giving Dracula humanity, I think of Gary Oldman, right? I think of like Bram
Hmm.
Stoker's Dracula, that film, and
Oh yeah, that's to like the nth level. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
where it's very much that he's like this suave gentleman, and like in this movie it's more like he's more like Nosferatu and more like a
yeah,
monster, because they even did like, I see more and more vampire movies lately doing the thing where they don't even give vampires fangs, they give them just like shark teeth basically, and
yeah,
this was another vampire movie that did that. And
yeah. I can't wait to see what Robert Eggers does for his vampire, because he's got Nosferatu coming out this
yeah,
year.
on
Hey,
Oh
Christmas,
yeah.
I want to say Pennywise plays
yep, Bill
Bill
Skarsgård, yep.
Scar, or the Crow, Eric Draven, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
Dude,
I
I
love Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
I
I do
just
too. He's a wonderful actor.
Oh.
I just rewatched The Crow because friend of the
Isn't that
show.
movie? Isn't that movie just perfect?
Dude, you know what's funny about that movie? I forgot how not that movie is so like PG-13 violent most of the way through it. It's like
It really is.
It's I didn't get to watch it until, well, I mean, didn't get to. I didn't watch it until recently because I was told all the time that it was like not good and just
Really?
overhyped.
Who lied to
And
you?
I was like, oh, and so we watched it in the Discord and it was so good. I was like, what the fuck have I been
Yeah.
missing out on?
Who
This
who
is
the fuck lied to
crazy.
you? Do you need me to
Yeah.
slap them?
No,
I
Dude,
will.
it's so funny with that because friend of the show, Katie Peters, has her podcast. Katie hasn't seen that. And the first episode of this new season she's doing was The Crow. And when she figured out, she's like started searching if they were brother and sister, or there was just some, and they're like half brother and sister. And she's like, and I'm just like, dude,
Wait, what?
the bad guy and the chick
Yes.
who plays with eyeballs are like brother and sister.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're like brother and
yeah.
sister,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't describing very well. You probably thought I meant Eric Draven and
I
his,
did. And I was very
I
confused.
could tell that you did when you we were like, what?
dude. I think the new one looks.
Excuse me?
I think the new one looks cool, and I think that it looks ultra violent, and I think it looks like it's gonna be fun. But like, people are very upset about it. But
People are
I'm
upset
gonna
about
watch
anything
it.
existing. Is the
Yeah,
thing.
I'm gonna watch it, and I hope it's really good. But I will say the trailers honestly haven't sold me, because it just looks like John Wick 5 to me.
and you know what I
But,
said? It looks like what I kept comparing it. I was like, John Wick meets Deadpool because
Yeah.
of the regeneration powers. You know,
Right. I'll watch it because it's Bill Skarsgård for one. And honestly, it's a Crow movie.
Oh.
And I've seen all of them. There's only one good one, but I have seen all.
I was
of
gonna
them.
say there's a lot of bad Crow movies, right?
This, the shame in that. I know we're supposed to be talking about Last Voyage of the Demeter, but this is your podcast, and you do this all the time anyway. But the story for the Crow City of Angels, the story is honestly so fucking good. It's just a shame that it turned into an absolute shit show, because that movie's just not good. It's
Yeah.
pretty bad. But the story at its core is honestly really so fucking good, because at the end of the day, it's basically a love story between a father and their child, and that kind of love being powerful enough to bring him back is it's actually really, 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 really beautiful.
Yeah.
And then they shit all over the movie on accident. And then they threw in like a strange love trope with the girl who is the grown-up girl from part one, which they didn't need to do at all. It's like they completely mishandled the potential of that story, and it's just too bad, because the Crow City of Angels actually could have been really good if they gave a shit about it.
It was another.
didn't.
It was another. They were just trying to make money off of the fucking.
They
name,
just that's all
like,
it was a
yeah.
complete cash cow. I remember watching that in the theater and wanting to walk out 30 minutes in. And my friend that I went to watch it with made me stay. I haven't spoken to him since.
Fair.
Damn. I've never seen any of the sequels to that movie. It was one of those things
You
where,
haven't
like,
seen the bad Edward Furlong one either?
oh no.
Yeah, Edward Furlong plays in a Crow movie, and he's the Crow.
Edward
It's
Furlong
just as
is-
good as it sounds.
Okay, now I know the name, and now I'm not putting.
I think it's Salvation. Oh, Edward Furlong. He's my favorite character. He's the reason I love
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2.
Brian hates Terminator 2 because of Edward Furlong. And I'm just
I
like,
don't like Terminator 2. I'm very much in the minority, obviously.
no, you're
But
not.
I am
You're not the
proud to
minority.
say-
You're the only person who doesn't like.
It's got a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes because of me. I'm the only person that doesn't like Terminator 2. But you will be proud of me, man. I've seen E.T. finally.
Nice. Did you like
Yeah,
E.T.?
I just watched E.T. for the first time. Like, oh God, it was less than 2 years ago, I think.
That movie, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched it since I was a kid, but it's a pretty
It's
iconic.
really good.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean-
to the surprise of no one,
I
yes,
mean,
E.T.'s a really good movie.
It's Steven Spielberg at his prime, man. I mean, that was like
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg when he was at his like superpower, like when he was in the 80s shooting like masterpiece after masterpiece, man. So, yeah. What I mean, without changing
Before
Go.
you jump in too far, I just want to bring up the budget for this movie, and we were
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
you wanna-
how it bombed pretty bad.
Mhm.
Yep.
They spent their budget was $45 million. Wow. It grossed 21.7 million.
So it's not even just a bomb, it's like a big bomb.
Mhm.
Ugh. Well, dude, that's
Yeah,
like
they had opportunity here.
Mhm.
dude, it I think they were just like horror people will come see this, but it's like that is I mean, that's a massive like all those new Halloween movies were like what 15-20 million dollar budgets. Like I think the like 11 million was at least one of them. Like the budgets weren't nowhere near that, and like but that's the problem, like, right, you're shooting a boat movie. And boat movies are expensive because you have stages with the, all the effects and the water and all that shit. And you go, and I don't think they advertise this thing worth a shit, man.
I don't
And
think so either. I remember seeing ads, but I only remember seeing them in theaters. I don't remember seeing them anywhere else.
Yeah, they didn't
like
market this movie very well.
they could have done it so much better and made great money on it, but it just
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then
think
we-
this movie is a lot better than the results.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think,
Considering, okay, I'm in the, I've said this like fucking 10 times already on this podcast. I'm in the minority here. I liked Halloween Ends. Okay.
I liked Halloween Ends too.
Okay. So you and I are in the minority. Ken, did you like Halloween Ends?
Mhm.
Wow, that's fucking cool. All three of us like that. I mean, that's odd. That's odd. That's actually a bad sign. Something's bad about to happen. Three people should not be in the same place that like Halloween, and something awful's gonna happen. So that movie obviously got, for the most part, pretty kind of beat up. It made $103 million and it opened on Peacock at the same time.
Yep.
And they couldn't squeak more than $22 million out of this movie, which is, in my opinion, it's probably a better movie than Halloween Ends.
Well, the thing is too, they advertised it like it was like it felt like this movie feels like a middle of the pandemic type movie. You know what I mean? And
Kind
it
of,
was,
yeah.
and it wasn't. It came out
No.
way after the end of the pandemic, or not the end, but like things were way more opened up. But they like didn't advertise it worth a shit, and it's just like I don't think the title helps. like the last voyage of the Demeter, because like we're talking about how, you know, because if you know the book, all blah blah blah, and this is just a section of that. But people who don't know that probably had no fucking clue what this movie was about, like just from a title, right? Like it's not like something that gives you any idea unless you have context, right? And then the trailers, like, you didn't have, like, I don't know, man. It's just like
They just didn't market this movie very well. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of, you know, it's a missed opportunity, and it's just honestly, this just plays into basically the fucking curse of the Universal monsters.
Yeah.
Because yes, this is a Universal film. Gee, go figure. It's got fucking Dracula in it.
Yeah.
But they haven't. The Universal horror films have just not done well, with the exception of The Invisible Man.
Yeah. Yep, that's the only one.
The Mummy was a colossal shit show.
Dude.
The only thing good about that movie was Sofia Boutella.
Dude, I always say that the first 2/3 of the movie are terrible, but it's fun terrible. Like, it's fun terrible for the first two.
It's a goofy, bad action movie.
But then that third act where they try to start up the monster universe is so terrible and so off-putting that it ruins everything that happened before.
Way too fucking hard. That movie tried way too fucking hard. And then of course they had the Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro that I actually like, but nobody else likes, and I get it. I kind of understand. But I actually like that movie. I think it's much better than people give it credit for.
I've never seen it. And it's one of those movies that I think came out when I was in college or something like that. And like, it was just like, you just heard like, oh, this movie is getting shit on real bad by everyone. Yeah. And like, especially
people didn't like Dracula Untold either.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Vampire movies aren't very, I don't feel like they take chances with them. Like, most of them are Dracula, and most of them take that same fucking spin. Like, none of them bring enough to it.
I liked Renfield.
I like
Renfield.
Renfield.
That it's different, but I really enjoyed Renfield.
I loved Renfield. I thought it was super fun, super campy, super silly. It was great.
It definitely didn't take itself seriously.
Yeah, and it fucking bombed.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one. Like, it's a horror comedy. Like, comedies, man. Like, comedies are such a. I mean, comedies in the theater right now, like. Most comedies go direct to streaming services, right? Like, it's like,
seems like it.
That have you watched that Snoop Dogg movie? The where he's like teaching Pee-wee football. That's like on Amazon Prime.
No,
dude, it was like the Little Giants, but with like Snoop Dogg and so way more N words. But like, I thought it was good and I thought it was funny, but. It's another like an R-rated comedy that goes direct to a streaming service and doesn't ever get like, you know, it just came out a couple months ago.
I didn't even know this existed, but now I'm gonna make it my mission to watch it.
It's Snoop Dogg and Mike Epps, and I don't know who else is in it, but like he plays like a former NFL player who like gets stuck to like. Well, I mean,
say Snoop Dogg plays a former NFL player.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay. Those are words that I didn't expect to come together in a sentence.
They did.
Right.
They did.
But that was not on my bingo card.
I thought it was funny, and I thought it was, you know, it's just like, but most things that come out like are direct to DVD or direct to streaming bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the whole thing with the Joker guy, Todd Phillips, right? And like, because he made like those Hangover movies, and then he got mad at everyone and made the Joker, and now he's making the Joker too, but. Yeah, I don't know. But the
Joker movie was a better performance than movie.
Yeah,
so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the second one. I think Lady Gaga will do a fine job.
Yeah,
I think she's a pretty good actor.
So yeah, like at first I was really angry about it, and I was like, "No, this is silly. She shouldn't." But then I got to thinking about which Joker we're looking at, and I was like, "Okay, this is going to be hopefully amazing."
Yeah. I think it's going to be. Probably the same thing. It'll be a couple good, really, really great performances in an average movie, because I think that's the Joker at its core was just an average film with a fantastic performance by.
I mean, that will get you things because, like, look at The Whale. That was like the whole thing about that movie, right? It was just Brendan Fraser did really good, had a really good
Yeah,
performance.
that movie isn't really all that great, but I bawled watching that movie because Brendan Fraser was so fucking good in it.
And everyone loves
Uh,
Brendan Fraser. Everyone loves
Brendan
Brendan
Fraser is a
Fraser.
national treasure.
He is. He's a good boy. Um, I. It's the
That
thing.
was a really wonderful year for the Oscars as a whole because first of all, you had Brendan Fraser's comeback. That whole fucking thing was amazing.
Yeah.
But then you also throw the fact that Ki Kwan came out of nowhere from the last thing he did with any remote amount of relevancy in Hollywood was fucking Encino Man.
Yep.
And he only was in that movie for all of like maybe 7 minutes.
Yep.
You know, because he played just a bit character in that movie. And then this guy comes out of nowhere and he snatches himself a fucking gold Oscar. And I think he won a Golden Globe as well.
Yep. He
How fucking cool was that year? That was amazing. That was fucking amazing.
I mean, when you have
both of those, I was bawling the whole time watching. It was fucking
when
beautiful.
you have people stories like that, like because Hollywood often has a bunch of shitty people in it, right? And so it's like when you don't have shit. Yeah, when you don't have shitty people and the good things happening to them, it's a good thing. I don't think they release it, but I would really like to know how much they spent on marketing for this film because that feels like the biggest problem that like there was. I mean, I think before this movie was even coming out and people were predicting it was going to bomb because of the things like it kind of seems like they just put it out to put it out which is kind of crazy because Universal is the one. No, it's Warner Brothers is the one that's doing all the real shitty things with movies now, right? But I don't know, man. Well, they have the Wolfman coming out here pretty soon. That lead.
I have faith in that because it's Lee Wanell.
Yep.
I mean, he did The Invisible Man, and that was a really, really good movie. It was more of it was kind of I think it's a really, really good movie, but less of a good Invisible Man story, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he was already a monster.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you really watch like the original Invisible Man, it was the ability, it was his invisible ability that turned him into a monster or brought the monster out of him that probably was already there, so to speak.
Yeah.
But he was already a piece of shit, and then you all of a sudden give this guy the ability to become invisible, and he just became a bigger piece of shit.
What was that? What was the Kevin Bacon version of it? What the fuck was that?
Hollow Man, baby.
Hollow Man, yeah. Where you get to see some Kevin Bacon dong. You get to see
some computer generated Kevin Bacon.
But Kevin Bacon was never shy about showing his penis off on the screen, though. I mean,
no, he showed off his Willy Wang in Wild Things.
Yeah, Wild Things. Man, that was
a wild little thing.
That was one of those horny teenage boy movies that like they completely targeted at.
Yeah, you put Denise Richards and Nev Campbell kissing each other in a movie, you're gonna get a lot of people in the movie.
Are you looking to see how much they spend on marketing? I don't think they give those numbers out. I
can't find it.
Yeah,
that's what I was looking. I've been through like 5 websites.
I don't think they ever listed. It's just like it's one of those things where they keep those are like Hollywood numbers that are very much like you release those and then you get like castrated live on the internet.
They say that you double what the production budget was, and that's the real number. I don't believe that in this case.
There's no way they spent $40 million budgeting.
I don't
marketing this movie.
That's possible.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I was looking.
They spent
at the different countries.
in a case of Natty Light on promoting this fucking movie.
I mean, it's
did really well in France and Mexico.
I bet the title.
Did it really?
I wonder if the title was better.
So domestically the gross was 13 million. France was 1 million. Mexico was 1.5 million.
Wow.
But yeah, it didn't do so great other places.
I mean, again, when nobody knows what it is and nobody like tries it, and you don't even run trailers. Like if you would run trailers with a vampire, maybe, or even like I have the image I have up for the poster. it shows Dracula on it in his like very Nosferatu form, but I don't think this is an official poster. I think it was just like a screen grab where they put the title of the movie on it for something. And like, I just, it feels like it was one of those things that it was just like this movie had every card stacked against it the entire time, you know?
Yeah, I think you're kind of right.
It's like, I think there were a lot of talented people, you know, involved in this. And
yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I don't know who
I mean, just the
directed-
cast alone is really pretty strong, and the movie has really strong performances in it.
Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned
Woody-
Corey Hawkins earlier. He's really good in this, and so is David Dastmalchian.
Yep.
It's
and the kid,
really performed really well.
Woody Norman, he was in Cobwebs and or Cobweb, and he did a really
Toby.
great job in it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. And honestly, like, well, I don't know. Do you guys want to spoil anything? No.
I mean, this is our pie. I was
Okay,
just
because we're
spoiler
talking about
alert.
a fucking
I mean,
movie that came out like what 20 years ago, some shit. I don't even know. But yeah, like his whole death was fucking awful. like Toby when he dies, and that's one of the things that this movie does that's actually done really, really well, and that's why I say it was a bummer that it didn't do better, because we have this. They actually developed these fucking characters in this movie. You actually give a shit about most of these guys. So their lives mean something. So when they do inevitably get ate essentially, you actually feel something when it happens.
Except for the guy who was like like one of the last guys to get killed, who I kept going, oh, this guy's still alive. The guy who was up in the with a gun, where they were trying to fight Dracula at night, because that was a smart idea. But that guy, I'm like, this guy has had.
Are you talking about the guy? I think you're talking about David Dastmalchian's character.
Was that who? Maybe no. The other, there was him and the other guy
that was with him.
Yeah. See, you don't even remember he was up there. That was the guy I'm talking about. It was like completely like, I think he was the whorehouse guy, but I'm not completely sure.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I mean, the main characters, obviously, because you have your horror movies where people get whacked off that
they get
people get jerked off into oblivion. But
hey man, I want to get jerked off into oblivion. Come on.
Yeah, you have those that you don't care about, of course, obviously. But I mean, our main players, like David Dastmalchian's character, like you get connected to these guys actually, because they actually wrote characters in here that you actually fucking care about. That's why it is such a bummer that this movie bombed as bad as it did, because I think it's so much better than the numbers reflect.
Yeah, it deserved at least to make its money back. Like it.
Yeah, at the very least.
Yeah.
At the very fucking least.
But like it just shows, man. Like if you don't give like promotions for a movie, like people aren't, and then you have a title like this that is hard to distinguish. Like I was talking about earlier, people are gonna go, what's playing at the movie theater, and they're gonna see The Last Voyage of the Demeter and have no fucking clue what that is, and not go see it. You know what I mean? So. And not everyone looks at things on like the Alamo's page or app or something like I do, and just like I don't know, man.
The good news is the audience for the most part really likes this movie.
Yeah,
because it is chilling at a 75% audience score, and honestly, the critics weren't that hostile about it. It's pretty much 50-50.
It was never released in the United Kingdom.
Oh, it never did.
Mm-mm.
That's wild. Why?
That's a pretty big market. Yeah.
Says it doesn't. People say they don't know.
Wow.
That's fucking strange.
I think I think if I recall, I think I heard something about that, and I think the title has something to do with that, and like then what distribution and whatnot, and I think I don't know, weird things. It maybe has something to do with Hammer. Hammer's still around, aren't they, somewhere?
Hammer Films?
Yeah, I don't know. Do they exist?
I thought you were talking about MC Hammer.
No. Can't touch this. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Wow, those were sounds that you made.
They were definitely sounds coming out of like congested sleep deprived, fucking sick brain. That my brain is like it's cooking slowly. Like my brain is like Toby's brain, but like when he got caught on fire there at the end of the movie. And dude,
Oh, poor Toby.
that whole scene with
He
Toby,
had a
like
bad trip. Like really, like honestly.
yeah, his dog gets
Honestly,
Huckleberry. His dog gets
to
like
say that anybody had a good trip on that fucking boat would be a lie. Except unless Dracula. I mean, he was fucking. He was basically just like that was the golden corral for him. Like, he was
all you could
fucking. He was having a blasty blast, but poor Toby, man, he had to. His dog died. I think it's didn't he? Yeah.
Then he sets his grandpa on fire. I mean,
he sets his grandpa on fire before he gets yeeted into the fucking ocean.
Yeah, dude,
man, what a shit fucking.
That scene where he's in the fucking locked up and Dracula's coming after him and they're just trying to get in there and you just you're like, oh, yeah, they're definitely gonna save Toby. Like there's Toby's getting munched down like a Dorito.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, like I love that sequence. It's very intense. It's really good. This movie it really is a lot better than the numbers reflect. It really is.
I think it builds up tension very well for that. Like as soon as people start getting taken out, it's that thing where it's just like because of that like thing. It can like think of things like Underwater is another movie that like you have that whole you're stuck in the space and shit's happening, and that movie didn't do great either. And is completely undeserved because that movie was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I do understand why they let this director make this movie though, because
who's the director?
He did. Oh, Andre Overdahl. I'm probably butchering his last name and I apologize, but he directed the fucking Autopsy of Jane Doe.
God, I love that movie.
And Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And those are bangers in my opinion. He also directed Troll Hunter and Troll Hunter's a fucking blast.
Dude, that movie is wild. That movie is crazy. It's very much like accessible horror too. There's like a second one or they like made a sequel or something like that. I don't know, but like it's just a shame because the guy knows. I mean, I think that like the Autopsy of Jane Doe is like up there for me with like Hush or these movies that like no one will ever watch that have just like went and died on Netflix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That like, I mean, that movie is so fucking terrifying because again,
that's a fantastic film. Yeah, I love that movie.
It is. It's a thing that like starts somewhere and you don't ever think you're gonna know where it's gonna go. But we need to do that sometime, Ken, for this show.
Cool.
Ken's beat. Ken is dying from the plague.
She's on board, buddy. You got her.
I know. Now I'm trying to see if that other movie we were talking about is on a certain place that we could watch it for the podcast, because I would like to do that.
I would love to do that.
Late night with the devil.
Oh yeah, it's on. I think I found a copy of it.
Brian, you could come back and do that with us.
I would love to. I would come back and talk any movie with you.
Yeah.
Guys you ever want.
Yeah. You want to come back next week and do that if we can get a copy of it?
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, Rod. This is what we're doing.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I think it's on there, but I'm not sure. We'll do that if we can then.
Okay, cool.
Also, I think one of the whole like they tried to build up that they were gonna kill Dracula kind of thing was probably one of the weaker parts of this movie because of the again it goes back to my previous point. You knew Dracula wasn't gonna get killed in this, but I really do think that this movie was. You could tell it was fun, like, and they put a lot of heart into it, and it just like it sucks that it pooped its pants and didn't.
Now I could be wrong on this, but speaking of the love for the movie, and again, I could totally be wrong on this because it's been years since I've read Dracula, but it was based on like 5 pages from the book.
It's not very long, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
very
basically
correct.
took the captain's logs that they kind of do in this movie and they turned it into a film.
Yeah, it's like the captain's log is it's not even it's like a sub chapter.
Yeah, I
Of
mean, it's been
Bram
like
Stoker's
20
Dracula.
years since I've read it, so I don't.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me as well. I think it's been 86 years for me.
Yes, yes,
but
yes.
oh,
Yours was
that's-
carved on stones.
Oh,
yeah, I
that's
read that when I was a wee young man of 33.
oh you asked what Brian's skincare routine was. He was
You did.
He
I
said
I bathed
blood
in
of virgins. Brian's a vampire. It's official. That's why he picked
Why do you
this
think I wanted
movie.
to talk about this movie?
Exactly.
I wanted to share my journey with how I got here with you.
Exactly.
This is fair. This is fair.
But
We appreciate you taking the time out of your coffin to visit us.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Your teeth look
I still
phenomenal.
we could not got another 5 episodes. I got lots of time till the sun comes up.
I would die.
Actually,
Trying to
the
talk
way
about-
we go, we could probably only knock out one more episode.
probably.
I would fall asleep.
Yeah, me too. I'm sitting there going, I am dying. It does suck though because it does show that like even now it as I keep talking about like if you don't properly market these movies, and that's why like a lot of films that came out last year had a kind of a hard time because of that's like the Marvels, right? Like people are like, I know a lot of people didn't like that movie and are getting sick of but that movie wasn't nowhere as bad as people like and as badly as it did at the Office for a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I can't imagine that movie being too awful. I mean, I'm a fan of the director because Nia DaCosta made that film,
Yeah.
and she absolutely slayed it when she did the Candyman legacy sequel, or I guess was what they kind of call that. Because that movie's amazing. It's almost a masterpiece.
I really
So
like
I
that
can't
movie.
imagine the Marvels being too bad. I haven't seen it though, so
It's worth a watch, man. I thought it was funny and it had heart, which is like what I want out of a fucking Marvel movie. Like if you're funny and you have heart, I'm on board. But like, I don't know, man. It just shows you Hollywood's still like we're still at the behest of the marketing, and like if you don't do marketing right, then people won't go see movies, and it's like.
You got to take a page out of Smile's marketing. The guerrilla marketing worked really well for Smile, and it definitely should be utilized more frequently, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Smile's marketing was the best marketing ever. Just having the people behind home plate just like being creepy as shit.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking memorable, man. So, okay. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up? Because Ken and I are both dying, so...
Yeah, I'm actually sweating like R. Kelly at a fucking Girl Scout meeting right now. So, because it's super, super fucking hot up in my office. I need to.
It's because you're in there.
Yeah, no.
The vampire's body runs hot.
Yeah.
That's why they moved to Alaska. 30 days a night. I don't know.
But yeah, no. I just want to thank you guys for having me on. And if
I'm serious about coming back next week.
I am too. Okay, I would
good.
love to, I'll talk. This is what I live for. I love fucking talking horror movies.
Yep.
So and just movies in general. I love talking about movies. So yeah, I'll come back anytime you guys want.
Yeah.
Down.
I don't think Brian has any
down.
any places to follow him besides his other podcast, but
Yeah, you just follow us at you just find us on We're Gonna Make You Watch on the X. Or the Tube of You, or that it used to be called Twitter.
I've listened to.
We got a TikTok also.
You got a TikTok. I'm bad at TikTok.
That's what all the kids watch nowadays, right? Is the TikTok
until it got banned, or whatever. Until it keeps getting banned. I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen with that.
I don't know what's gonna happen with that shit. Yeah.
Well, follow Brian's shit because Brian's awesome and I love this man. And yeah, well, next week we'll try to do Late Night with the Devil if we can, and if not, we'll figure something else out. Yeah, and Brian's vampire ass will come back. I am like, my brain is like rebooting mid sentence. Okay, go to murdermoose.com and buy merch where you could get awesome merch. Go to continue.com, get all Kin's awesome stuff, her schedules and whatnot, and go find me.
That's all kinds of foobard.
Yep, find me on Twitter and Twitch at Roger_Johnson, and also go buy my book. Whee!
Hell yeah!
Please do.
Go buy Rod's book.
Please do.
You just look my name up, but it's called The Death and Rebirth of a Human Heart, so you can check that out. So
just throw a link in the description.
I could do that also. I've been
You
real
need
bad
to
at
do that.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We will catch you guys next week. I love you, Brian. I love you, Ken.
Love
and we'll see
you.
you guys later.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.